Hey everybody. Hello everyone. As I think I intro my videos as normally. It's me, H to the Z Hazer. Havering one more time. I just had to make sure I had the havering graphic up. I do. And yeah, we've had a bit of an explosion in the SPL, huh? Cyclone Spin no longer on the Titan. Stu steps in to fill that void in the duo lane. Hardcore moves over to ADC for the Scarabs, and Heroin makes the step up from the SCC to the SPL in support. And yeah, so this happened earlier on this week. I was as surprised as everybody else. I can't really still believe that it happened. Very, very bizarre situation, I think, in a number of ways. There was like Scarabs interview today. I sat through it, so you don't have to, because honestly, it wasn't very good watching. I wouldn't recommend going and checking it out. No offense to them and the people who organized it. The audio quality was a little bit bad. There weren't that many interesting points in it, but I'll go through them briefly. Should we start off with that? There's nothing really interesting to say on it, so I'll fire through it quickly. Scribes talked about being happy for their teammate. Hardcore said maybe he can have more impact in ADC than support. He said the support's good for 10 minutes and then sort of like a walking ward. I'm reading notes here, by the way, if you can't tell. There was a slightly awkward question about the Scarabs being a stepping stone, which was awkwardly answered as well. But they basically talked about the fact that success breeds success, and this has never happened where a bottom team has had players on it that were good and could just get picked up by top teams, but the team itself wasn't good. I think a lot of it's about, and Hurry mentioned this briefly, I think a lot of it's about the fact that like one player goes, you lose sort of your team confidence and team environment. I mean, you look at the Valks, players in the Valks are probably much less willing to leave than players in the Scarab because they've been around and they've stuck together for so long, and they have like this enduring team mentality and team spirit, and you know, they all go out for fun together and they're best friends and they hug and stuff, and like if one of them has a nightmare, they all chip in to make sure they're okay. Obviously I'm being a little bit sarcastic there, but the fact that like one player leaves really does make it a lot easier for other players to leave. I think you lose that team mentality that you have in like a 5-person stack. And I think that is a sort of a reason why we've seen sort of this landslide of players leaving the Scarabs over the last little while, because they've never really had a full, like a roster that they're fully confident in. I mean, even now, like you look at the like 3/5 of the players have been less on the team than less than a year, and they're the ones who haven't left. You know, you've got Sam, Hardcore, and Scary. None of those have been on the team for even a year, you know, and that's half of the team, if you're including Slaney, which I am, because I'm cool like that, you know, and Hurry's been on it for less than that. Hurry's just joined. So we got Slaney and Baronic who have made it, you know, over a year on this team, and that is it, unless I'm way off the money on that. A lot of strong talk in the interview. Like Hurry, there was a good question from Mifflin around communication, around like the makeup of a team and communication, which I think was a major problem for the Scarabs in their existing roster, and I think might be better now with Hurry coming in. He had some strong comms about comms, I guess. He had some strong talking about communication and how now they felt like, he talked about how Hardcore was a strong communicator in the backline. I hope that's true. And he talked about like basically they needed a strong communicator in the front line as well, which he felt like he was the one to be. And also talking about, I felt like his words on that were good. If there's one bit of the interview I would recommend you check it out, I have no idea because I didn't timestamp it. Sorry. Maybe someone will find it and timestamp it down below. If you do, let me know, I'll pin it. But Hurry had one good comment in there about communication. Hurry also talked about an assumption. We're going to get on to sort of the next point now, which is the actual roster change. Hurry talked about an assumption on like why Cyclone is no longer on the Titans. And like, let's be perfectly clear on this. Cyclone is and has been better than Stu forever, for like 9 years. He is better than Stu. Okay? I'm sorry, Stu and Stu fans. Stu is he's not even having a good phase, or a good last 2 phases in my opinion. I think he had a good phase 1 on the Scarabs. I get it's hard to look good on a bad team, but I don't think Stu is playing particularly well right now. And so you've got to look at what is the impetus here for Cyclone being off the Titans. And I think as the Titans, you've got to think that it's something to do with Cyclone in some way, not something to do with his individual performance, I don't think, but more to do with like the way he is in practice and with the team is what you've got to assume. Maybe he's burnt out. Maybe he's pissed at team members. Whatever it is, it's probably something interpersonal rather than something to do with actual SPL game performance. That's my opinion. And I can't see it being like Cyclone's just a word, because he's not. And Stuart hasn't been playing well, honestly. Like if I were to do power rankings tomorrow, which I probably should, maybe I'll do power rankings this week, Cyclone would be above Stu, because Cyclone has been better. But yeah, they made the roster change. Let me pull up the screen here and we can have a look at some stuff. So Cyclone Spinning is no longer on the Titans. Stu replaces him on that roster. Hardcore swaps to ADC. Herwin steps into play support. Content day with the Scarabs has happened. Cyclone has put this tweet out. I will take a break from competitive and decide I want to play next year or retire. So this points like a little bit at least towards it being some kind of burnout. He's going to take some time to look after himself and take a break. It's a long time to be competing. It is difficult to stay in there and to stay motivated and to stay grinding the same game every day for how long Cyclone's been in the game, 9 years or whatever. This is also the breakup of the Cyclone Aurora duo, by the way, which have been together since Splice, which I think, let me see if I can get this right. I think, so they won Worlds in season 5, and they got together in season 5 as well, I think, which was how many years ago? 4 years ago? 2018? Or 20, yeah, start 2018? January 2018. I'm going to say they got together, Cyclone and Aurora. And they've been playing in the duo lane ever since. They went through like a few different rosters. What were they on? They were on Ghost for a tiny bit, Radiance together, Splice together, Titans together. Is that it? Is that all the teams? But it was a good few years, 4 years. These guys duo lane together. And yeah, it's going to be strange seeing Aurora playing with someone else. I'm sure he's going to find it a lot stranger than we find it watching him playing with someone else. But yeah, super interesting. I think Cyclone, fantastic player, like individually incredible. One of the, like, I don't think there's any doubt that if he really wants to keep competing in Smite, he will be able to. And I would hope that he does, but we'll see. Well, I hope that he does if he wants to, you know. If he doesn't want to, he shouldn't. But I hope that he does want to, and I hope that he does. He's one of the... We can scroll through all the superlatives in his replies. He also has one of the greatest Smite parents in Mama Cyclone. She stays tweeting, and we love that. I think I got to give a shout out to like the Smite parents. No matter who I talk about. If you don't have a parent who's active on Twitter, I'm sorry, no offense. I don't like you as much. That's the way it goes. Anyway, that's not true, but I do be loving the support of parents. It's super cool. Something that's come out of it is I watched a bit of PBM stream earlier. He was a little bit stun locked, to be honest. And I think he, I didn't really like the way he approached the problem with there's been some tweets about how there should be roster locks and how there aren't roster locks and how that's a definitive problem for the league. I think that roster changes throughout the season aren't really a problem. I don't think that this roster change made the Scarabs worse. In fact, I think it might have made them better. We'll see. Because I wasn't a big fan of the makeup of that roster just through communicativeness in their team. Is there a can I say that without sounding like an idiot? Communicativeness, just due to the how much each player speaks. Okay, that's why I didn't like that Scarabs team that much. But Mike's been again wound up by people tweeting that there should be roster locks and that's a real problem for the league. I don't really agree that the roster locks need to happen. I think that roster changes throughout the season are fine. I think there should be maybe a point. I don't know what that point should be, but maybe there should be a point in the season or a point in the phase that there should be a roster lock, like halfway through is something that Mike was talking about, like halfway through the round robin. But you're just going to end up with the same pressures at a different time, you know. Doesn't really make all that much of a difference. I also have heard chat of, I'm not even going to get into it. There was chat on that same stream about like whether bottom level teams should take more risks and things like that. Which I don't know. It's very easy to say take more risks from higher up the league, but it's difficult to take more risks when you're under a lot more pressure to perform. You know, I think these bottom level teams are like under pressure to make changes which give you quick results, which a lot of changes do. But I don't think Mike and the Dragons and his previous team's rosters have made like crazy risky pickups. Like Pegon, everybody knew he was a good player. I don't think it's really a risk picking him up in mid. Like Hurwin before that, not really all that risky. Twig, Sam, whatever, you know. There's some roster swaps there and things like that, but I think that was a bit of a silly take, which none of you even saw. So why am I even addressing it? Who knows? That's why it's havering. That's why we do it this way. I think that's about it. I think let's talk about the teams. Okay, quickly. Did the Titans get better? From a purely mechanical point of view, no. Cyclone is a better player than Stu. Will it breathe some new life into this team? We'll see. They are now a team with 3 players previously of the Scarabs. Sot, good friends with Stu, I believe. We'll see how that affects them, if it will breathe life into them. I hope it does. I haven't really liked the way that they've started the last 2 phases. I felt like they're, fuck about and do random shit and hope that it works, even though it clearly doesn't. Strategy has been a bit of a mess, personally. The way I worded that is a little bit unfair, I know. But they've done bad drafts, and they've done things like we saw in phase 2. A lot of it was the warrior ADC hunter solo. Like I think they did take one good thing out of that, which was the Ullr solo, which I think we'll probably see at some point in the future. At least I hope we do. But the majority of the stuff they did and the majority of things they did were things that you could rule out in practice, in my opinion. Maybe they were in that situation where practice is going too well and you can't rule things out and you need to do it on game day and lose to learn. But normally when that's happening, I find that the team wins on game day as well. And it's not until you get to tournament time that you realize that the thing you're doing is shit. We're getting very inside baseball tonight. But yeah, did they get any better? I don't know. I think probably not. Did the Scarabs get better? Is it a much more interesting question for me, because I think that the Scarabs probably did get better, which is kind of mental. They're the ones who got forced into a roster change. They did a player swap role. Hardcore went from support to ADC again. They brought in a kind of like unproven Hurwind into the support role. But I think they got better just on the basis of communicativeness on communication. I think that Hurry coming into support and kind of leading this team and having strong opinions, I think could be really good for them. I think that's something that they lacked Even previously, even with Inbound in their team, I think Inbound was a strong shot caller, but maybe not as strong of like a strong opinions on the game and strong theory crafter. Again, I haven't teamed with these players, so it's hard to say this definitively. But I think that Herwin's going to come in. He's going to put his stamp on this team, or at least try to. And I think that the players will likely listen, and I think they'll likely see results. We'll see though, because they needed a real strong, definitive shot caller in that core. Boronic and Sam. I don't think it's any secret, or I don't think anybody's going to be surprised to hear that like those two aren't super strong, super vocal, communicative players. You know, they're not going to tell their support or tell somebody else, tell their ADC, tell their solo laner what they're gonna be doing. They need someone to do that. And I don't think Hardcore was that person, personally. And I think that Herwin could be. So I think that's one way in which this team improved. Other teams in the league are going to be looking at this and probably smiling and saying, yeah, we're fine. We're okay. Valk's looking at it. Bolts, I honestly thought, don't want to say it. Thought the Bolts would maybe get involved in some of these roster swaps and something could change with that team. But it looks like they're happy with what they've got, and they want to continue on. Cyclone's been tweeting that he's taking some time out to the end of the year. Pretty much confirms that there should be no more knock-on effects from these changes. Who the fuck Snoopy's SEC team will get? We'll find out. Maybe it'll be me. Maybe he gives me a shout. Give me a call. Call me, Snoopy. All right, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you when the next roster implodes. Goodbye forever.